Hey everyone, what is going on? So we are doing some more Sinister battles. Now I am battling two opponents. We have 3 games with Jokes, and then I'm battling the same opponent that I did yesterday. Now Jokes and I actually had more battles than just 3, but they were like laggy for both of us. So I'm only having the 3 battles in this video, but we'll probably be doing more battles so I can get a full video just of us battling. But either way, let's take a look at my team. We have the Poliwrath, Gallade, Dusclops, Steelix, Alolan, Mawak, and Gardevoir, and his team will consist of Poliwrath, Bronzong, Lucario, Empoleon, Alolan, Mawak, and Steelix. Now, some people had been requesting Gardevoir, and I do have it on my team for this video. However, I did not actually use it because both my opponents had multiple steel types, so I was like a little nervous to use it. But I will be having a video dedicated to Gardevoir in the future. Soon, relatively soon, to see how Charm works, but you do have to watch out for that steel typing. But for this video, we're basically wanting to focus on Steelix and Dusclops and how tanky they are. Now, Steelix is, I would say, mandatory for this cup. It's so solid. It does lose to like the fighting Pokemon, so if you're going up against a Pokemon with counter, or even like Poliwrath with Bubble and Power Up Punch, or Mudshot and Power Up Punch, obviously it'll lose to like those Pokemon. But it's going to beat like the dark types because it has Crunch. It depends on the matchup and the shields and everything else. But it does, do well against Ghost Pokemon because it does get to Crunch really fast. It's really bulky, as I said. Dusclops is another one that is actually quite bulky. It does max out a little bit after 1500. I'm not sure of the exact amount, but it does max out around that range. So really solid Pokemon. We're going to go ahead and take this move, whatever it happens to be. It is that Shadow Ball. Now, the Shadow Ball did a lot of damage to us, but Shadow Ball in general does a lot to anything, and we still survived it. So that was pretty nice, and doing a lot to that Alolan Mawak as well. We're going to go ahead and bring in our Alolan Mawak and shield this Shadow Ball, so didn't want to take that hit. Now he does bring in his Empoleon. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Mud Shot, the Bone Club, excuse me, and he's going to go ahead and shield that, and then we actually get off a Shadow Ball now, seeing how much damage we could do to that Empoleon. Enough to knock it out, so pretty good for us, although our Mawak is almost down and out. He does bring in his Bronzong to knock us out, and my final Pokemon will be that Poliwrath, and of course we're not going to be able to do much to Bronzong because he has Confusion, so we're going to easily be knocked out in this situation. I mean, we do get off a couple power-up punches, but it's not going to be enough because his Confusion will just wipe us out. So he does go ahead and win that one. So good game, good game. So we're going to go ahead and jump into another one. I do begin with my Gallade, and he does lead with his Alolan Mawak, and I'm going to just go straight up for Confusions, charging up some energy, and then I switch into my Dusclops, and I decide not to block this one. It is a Bone Club, so he tries to take the shield, but we're not going to allow it to happen because I do not shield, and I go ahead and get off my Shadow Punch, which, I mean, does a decent amount of damage to him. We're going to get off another Shadow Punch, so charging up quite nicely as well, doing a lot of damage. I had trouble with Empoleon in some situations. We actually get off another Shadow Punch, and he will shield this. He said he shielded it because he thought he would knock me out before I knocked him out, and I thought that as well. And then he had a Hydro Pump saved up, but I actually knocked him out first. He said his fast move didn't go off, so that could have been, I guess that could have happened. I don't really know. Yeah, he should have, I think he should have knocked me out before I was able to knock him out. But either way, we bring in my Steelix, getting off the Crunch right now against his Bronzong, doing a good amount of damage. I mean, it's not same attack type bonus, so it's actually doing good damage to that Bronzong, and then we get off Crunch again. He does bring in his Alolan Mawak, and all we have to do is just charge up. We don't have to shield this at all. We could take the Shadow Ball, and we're going to get to Crunch, and we're going to be able to knock him out. And so we do knock out that Mawak, and we do go ahead and take that one. So that was all the games we had with Jokes. So really good games. I look forward to battling him again soon, as we will. We always battle. So jumping into the same opponent as yesterday, as I mentioned. Now they are using an Alolan Raichu, Haunter, Gardevoir, Bastiodon, Alolan Marowak, and Steelix. So as I said, Steelix very solid, probably going to be on everyone's team. So I do switch out to my Poliwrath. He switches out into his Alolan Raichu, so I do go ahead and go for my Power Up Punch. He actually shields it, expecting Ice Punch, so I'm going to go for the Ice Punch the next time, so I'm okay if he shields this or if he doesn't, and he happens to not shield it, so I'm going to go ahead and shield this because I knew I could feint his Alolan Raichu. He does try and get us with that Wild Charge, but I do go ahead and block it. Now he brings in his Bastiodon, so I'm going to go ahead and shield that. I decided to shield it last minute. I probably shouldn't have shielded that. I mean, we could have taken either move, but I wanted to stay as healthy as possible to do as much damage as possible to that Bastiodon. So we actually get off another Power-Up Punch, and this, I believe, is met with a shield. Yes, it is. So he does get off his charge move, and we don't have any shields, so Poliwrath will be going down to that Flamethrower, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Steelix right now, and trying to knock him down. I am not able to do so before he gets off his charge move, unfortunately, but we're still able to take the Flamethrower quite nicely. And we do go ahead and go for the Earthquake on whatever comes in, and it's going to be that Marowak. We actually don't knock him out because we didn't get the Excellent, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and go for the Crunch, and we're able to knock out that Alolan Marowak with Steelix. So Steelix is, as I mentioned already, going to be a Pokemon you see probably on everyone's team. Maybe not everyone, but you're going to see it a lot. So we're going to lead with Steelix this time, and he leads with his Gardevoir, and that's why I wasn't using my Gardevoir, because I didn't want to lead into like a Steelix or something, although that Gardevoir is still doing a decent amount of damage. But either way, I noticed that he did lag a little bit, so I stopped attacking, and he looks like he's lagging again, so I just let him get off a Charm, and I'm not sure, I mean, it might have mattered, I don't really know, but I do get off my Crunch, and he is going to get off his move. I'm going to let it go through, which is going to be Synchronoise, which we could take. Now, even though I am Steelix and I'm tanky and I resist Charm, I am still taking the damage not really that well, you know. So Charm can prove how good it is, but we'll be using that in its own video. So I do go ahead and go for another Earthquake, and he's not going to allow that to happen. So I switch into my Poliwrath right now, feeling pretty good about my position because I am up 2 shields, and I'm going to go ahead straight for the Ice Punch. I knew another Ice Punch. I thought this would knock it out. Does it knock it out? I'm not too sure. It does not, actually. It does not knock it out. Okay, but I think I was okay with that because I knew I'd be able to block his move should he get off one. Now he brings in his Bastiodon, so I decided to block this just because I'm in a really good position to get off a Power-Up Punch, which we're going to get off right now. And he actually gets off his charge move, so he does not knock me out, so I'm able to get off another Power-Up Punch and knock out this Bastiodon easily. So we do go ahead and knock out that Bastiodon and take that game. So again, good game. So we're going to go ahead and jump into another one in just a moment. So let's see what I lead with this time. I do go ahead and lead with Dusclops. He leads with Haunter. So Haunter is a really squishy Pokemon, but it has a high attack stat, so it is doing good damage to my Dusclops. I decided to shield this Shadow Punch, and I'm just... Now, I got a little bit greedy. I was trying to knock it out without using a charge move, but he got off a Shadow Punch, so he did cost me my last shield. I didn't have to use it, but I decided to. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go for my Shadow Punch. Now, I knew Gardevoir was weak to Shadow Punch, and I knew I had 2 to get off, so I'm able to get off another one. So he's taking good damage. He is up a shield, however, we do have that switch advantage. So I'm going to bring in my Steelix right now. And we're trying to get to Crunch, but he's actually able to get to his Synchronoise first. But we're able to take that. I mean, the damage is adding up, but, you know, Steelix is still able to tank it. So we knock out Gardevoir, and then he brings in his Alolan Raichu, and I'm going to go ahead and get off the Crunch. And that he is not going to shield. I was actually really surprised by him not shielding. I don't know why he didn't shield. He should have shielded that, but he didn't shield it, so we're able to knock out the Alolan Raichu and win the game. But that's okay. That's okay. We might have lost that had he shielded, and then we had another Pokemon in the back, which I believe was Poliwrath, if I remember correctly. So I don't know, we could have still won, so it's hard to say. Anyway, I start with Gallade this game. He begins with Gardevoir. Sometimes I have trouble switching when I go with the Confusion user. I'm just tapping Confusion instead of switching, so I let that Gallade go down. That was my mistake. I shouldn't have let it go down the way it did, but I did. So that's okay. But either way, I'm charging up energy, and I do go for the Crunch, hoping to bait the shield and allow him to think it was Earthquake, which is what happened. And now he's going to go for his move. So I do shield this because I want to be able to get off an Earthquake and hopefully knock him out. Considering he did use one of his shields already, I was hoping he wouldn't use his other one. So that's exactly what happened. And I was going to try and feint him down, but I was afraid he would get to his charge move before I was able to. So I do go for the Crunch, and as you can see, that is what happened. He's able to go for his charge move, Flamethrower. So I do go ahead and knock out his Bastiodon. He brings in his Gardevoir, and I charge up enough for the Earthquake because I do resist those charms. I just want to go for the full-on damage, knocking out Gardevoir, so that's exactly what happens. And now I bring in my Alolan Marowak against his Alolan Raichu. He's going to go ahead and go for that Wild Charge, doing a lot of damage to us, but we're able to take it, and we get to that Shadow Ball. And Shadow Ball is going to knock out that Raichu. So despite the poor play in the beginning, losing my Gallade, we still are able to take that game. So we have more games. We have quite a few games in this one. I do lead with my beautiful shiny Steelix. He does lead with his Gardevoir, so positive matchup for us. Despite the amount of damage we are taking, we're actually taking a good amount of damage, but we get to those crunches faster than he's able to get to Synchronize. And two crunches will knock it out, pretty sure. Anyway, he switches into Bastiodon, so I'm going to pull the switch into my Poliwrath. Of course, I love using Poliwrath in this cup, guys. I like Bubble. I wish I had a Mudshot one to try out. If you have a Mudshot one and you tried it out in this cup, let me know how it does. Let me know if you prefer Bubble or Mudshot. But I do like Mudshot because I love boosting up Bubble's power with Power Up Punch. So he does go ahead and use the shield, and he's going to get off his charge move. So I am going to go ahead and block this because I know I can knock him out. But he actually pulls the switch, and as soon as he pulls the switch, I immediately click on Ice Punch to knock out that Pokemon, which is Gardevoir, and then he brings in his Haunter, and he's going to go ahead and shield that, so nice play. I do bring in my Dusclops. I am going to go ahead and allow this to go through. It is Shadow Punch, and it does a decent amount, but we're able to tank it, and we get off a Shadow Punch of our own. So that will knock out Haunter, and then he brings in his Bastiodon. He actually knocks us out, but it doesn't matter because we bring in Poliwrath to finish him off. So we do go ahead and win that one. So we're going to go ahead and jump into another game, of course. I do lead with my Alolan Marowak. He leads with his Haunter, and this is... I mean, we're both doing a good amount of damage to each other. He does charge up faster, so I'm going to go ahead and block this Shadow Punch. And I do go for the Bone Club, expecting a shield at this point. He does go ahead and shield that, and he's going to go ahead and get off his move. So I do invest both shields into my Alolan Marowak to keep it alive, and I actually go for the Bone Club. I should have tried to feint it down. I think I could have, but either way, he lets it go. And he's going to bring in his Alolan Raichu, and we actually get off another charge move, which is going to be Bone Club. Wasn't expecting to get off another one, but because that's a Raichu, I guess we were able to. And guess what, guys? We actually get off another one, I guess because it's Raichu and it doesn't do a lot of damage with its fast move. But we do a lot of damage to his Alolan Raichu, and then I do decide to bring in my, what do I bring in? Dusclops. And whatever comes, we'll be able to take it. He was probably expecting a Steelix, that's why he used Grass Knot, but we do knock it out. And then he brings in his Gardevoir, and I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Punch, which will do a good amount of damage to him. And you could see we're even able to get off another charge move despite those charms. So you could see how well Dusclops is doing. And that will be it for this video, guys. I will see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.